Hello guys, good morning everyone. No? For those who were not able to attend the lecture kanina sa ating Google Meet, and for those who have or having difficult signal kanina, then I prepared a recorded lecture for it na para naman may panoorin or pakinggan pa rin tayo after the discussion. So kanina pinag-usapan natin yung mga different topics na to. We have here the definition of ethics, we have the importance of ethics, we have ethics versus law, we have also the concept of human acts, then we also have the kinds of human acts, moral distinction, and modifiers of human acts. So basically, we discussed on our previous lecture already the concept of ethics, the definition of ethics, the importance of ethics, but then we stop onto that. May mga iba pang tayong pinag-usapan, pero we'll just have an overview over it muna. No? So we are going to talk about what is ethics. So we discussed this already, but I'm going to discuss it again. Ang ethics is a branch of philosophy which studies the principle of right or wrong in human conduct. So basically, pagdating sa ethics, we are looking into a certain behavior and we are studying whether such behavior or action is right or wrong. That's the very basic concept of That's the very basic concept of ethics, since we're talking about morality. Okay. The term ethics originated from the Latin word ethos, which means customary, the behavior, and moral. So basically, the concept of ethics is being affected by different customs, different traditions, and other different sources of moral perception or moral behavior, such as religious references or religious book, no? So depending upon the different religions that we have, pwede tayo may iba't ibang view onto the concept of ethical behavior or moral behavior, no? Then we also have here the different concerns of ethics. Number one, morality. Sabi nga natin, we're looking into moral behavior. We're looking into whether a certain action is considered good or bad based on the standard of the society. That's morality as one of the primary concern of ethics. We are going to talk also about the human motivation. Pag sinabi nating human motivation, we are referring to the motivation of human being in doing a certain action. So it's basically focused on the reason behind a certain actions when it is being performed by a certain being. Okay? So those are the two primary concerns of the study of ethics. Now, it's the concern about morality. No? Ano nga ba yung basis natin in saying that a certain behavior is moral or not? And it's also concerned about the reason behind these different actions. Ano yung dahilan kung bakit ang isang tao ay gumagawa ng certain actions. Okay? Let's talk also about the significance of ethics. Significance means the importance of the study of ethics. Now, number one, ethics is considered as indispensable. Indispensable in the sense that you cannot really remove the concept of ethics into the society. During the early time, they are or they might don't have the idea of ethics, but they are already performing it. They are already doing doing a certain action based on morality, but they don't have yet the concept of ethics. Kasi kumbaga, they are not aware of them doing, performing, or doing a certain action on the basis of morality or goodness. So they might not be aware of it, but they are already doing it. So we cannot really say that we can do our way, we can improve a society without the concept of ethics. That's very wrong. Ethics is an indispensable part of the society. Without moral perception, man is no different from animals. It's basically true. What's different? What makes us different, or what makes us unique as a human being, from other organisms is our capacity to perceive moral behavior, our capacity to rationalize, our capacity to reason out, basically our capacity to think. That is our difference from other organisms. Animals might appear to have that capacity, but they don't really have. All they have is yung tinatawag dating instinctive. They have the instinct to do a certain act. They can perform a certain task, but that is based on operant conditioning. That's based on training, repetitive training. That is how they learn. But for us, we reason out, we think, we base it on our moral perspective, and so on. So that makes us different. Without this, without the concept of moral perception, you are not basically a human being, but rather you are an animal. Okay? Without moral, man is a failure as a human being. That is true. Sabi nga natin, bilang tao, dapat umakto kang tao. So mahirap magpakatao, madaling maging tao, mahirap magpakatao. A human being without morality, is not considered as human being, but rather as an animal. You must remember that. And that is also why morality is considered as the foundation of every human society. One of the foundation of every human society, meaning we cannot continue to exist as a society if we don't have the concept of morality. Kung walang bawal-bawal, walang masama, walang mabuti, then what will happen to the society? But that will be a chaotic. You remember the concept of anomy? Anomy refers to the theory which they views if the society don't have laws and regulations, if don't have the concept of morality, good or bad, then the society will perish as a society. And that cannot happen. Under the concept of anomy, if you remove the evil things, something will come out as an evil and something will come out as a good in replacement of to the removed factors or to the removed behavior. Okay? So, yan. Without civic morality, community will perish and survival has no value. Remember that always, we should also talk about the concept of ethics versus law, kasi sabi nga natin dito, morality is the foundation of every human society, and that's true. At the same time, law is one also of the foundation of the society. But then we should distinguish the concept of ethics and law based on their concept. So basically, ethics is more concerned on morality, while law are more concerned on practicality. Now, whether a certain behavior is practical or not, that's the basic concept, or that is the concern of law. And ethics is talking about morality, whether a certain action is good or bad. So literally, morality has wider implication than law. Law can either be moral or immoral. Sabi nga natin, ang batas natin pwedeng moral or immoral. Ibig sabihin, what is legal is not necessarily moral, but what is moral is worth legalizing. That is a very good notion. Sabi niyan, hindi lahat ng legal ay moral, at ang lahat ng moral is worth legalizing. So this issue may rise up a lot of debates, literally. Pwede tayong magkaroon ng maraming debate tungkol dito dahil nga sa conflict ng pananaw natin with regards to this. But if we are going to consider this example, then mas malilinawan tayo. So this is only for educational purpose. We have here the conflict between moral and legal actions. What are the instances wherein there is a conflict between morality and legality? So we have here an example, prostitution in the country. Now in Philippines, it's not a crime, but of course it is considered as immoral behavior. I don't see any law that punishes the act of prostitution in our country if that's committed by an adult. Prostitution is committed if it's committed, and the victim is children or the perpetrator is children, doon lamang yan papasok, as a crime. But literally in our law, we don't have that. We have before the crime of vagrancy, but that was already decriminalized. Ibig sabihin, ginawa na siyang legal sa ating batas during the presidency of Noynoy Aquino. So, literally, we don't have law that punishes such action as an illegal act. But of course, that is considered as an immoral behavior. So even in the Bible, it's already considered as an immoral behavior. Now, you can see that prostitution is already part of the biblical references that we have. Sabi nga dyan, prostitution is considered as one of the oldest profession. They even considered it as profession. So that is an immoral act. However, in our country, we don't have law that punishes such if that involves those adult individuals. Okay, so there is a conflict between legality and morality over there. Now, we also have here marital rape. I think it's a very confidential topic that we should be talking about, but for the sake of pointing out the conflict between morality and legality, I would be discussing that. So marital rape refers to rape that is committed inside a valid marriage. Kasal sila, but then nagkaroon ng rape. Our society before views marriage as a union between husband and wife, and that is considered as already a consent of performing sexual activities, because basically that's a need listed. So there is a sexual needs between partner that must be satisfied by the opposite partner. So if that is considered as an obligation between husband and wife, then why is it considered as illegal to do such thing if it is against the will of the person? Or can the partner really deny the performance of such action? Pwede bang sabihin wag muna ngayon or wag ngayon or ayoko or whatsoever? So in different laws, in different references, they view it as not illegal because that's considered as an obligation between husband and wife. But because of the progress, such as the development or the perception or different views, changing views on women's rights and other different rights, nagkaroon na ng shift into the view on how this should be viewed upon. So our law already considers such action, kung sapilitan ng pag-engage into sexual intercourse, ibig sabihin ayaw ng partner pero pinilit mo siya, that is considered as a sexual abuse under 9262, and that is considered as a crime in our country. So yan, pwedeng mag-spark yan ng debate between legality and morality, kasi ang engaging into sexual intercourse between husband and wife, it's not considered as immoral behavior. But if the law says that if doing or performing such action against the will of the partner, then that would be considered as a crime. So we have a lot of things to look into that. Then we also have here other regulated behaviors such as fishing, logging, and so on, similar actions. So fishing, for example, fishing for food, fishing para sa hanap buhay mo, then that's not really illegal, kasi nga you have the needs. You have the basic needs for food, you have the basic needs to have finances, to have money, maghanap buhay, and if fishing is what you do, then I think it's just for you to do such thing. But since our resources are finite, ang resources natin are finite, can be pwedeng maubos yan, then definitely there should be a law that regulates such action, para hindi naman magkaroon or mawala or maubos ang ating mga resources through overfishing, illegal fishing, and similar actions. So I think that's the reason behind the prohibition. Kaya meron tayong law on illegal fishing or overfishing, para protektahan ang ating mga resources sa pagkaubos. But it does not necessarily mean na kapag yan ay merong batas na nagbabawal sa pangingisda or pag-overfish, then that action is already considered as immoral behavior. It does not mean like that. What it means is that such behavior needs to be regulated. So it is illegal but it is not immoral. The same thing as logging, di ba? Pag nagputol ka ng puno, no? Masama ba 'yon? Hindi naman. Pero ang masama if hindi natin kinontrol ang pagputol ng puno, kasi nga what will happen, we have natural calamities, we have landslide, we have strong typhoons that will come, no? If we don't have a lot of trees that protect us from those harm. So they created a law that regulated such action para nang sa ganun na hindi maubos ang puno sa ating mga kabundukan. But it does not literally mean, or it doesn't automatically mean na ang pagputol ng puno is already considered as immoral behavior. It is only regulated and our law only prohibited such action, but it does not really mean that it is already immoral. So when we are looking into law and morality, we are looking at the conscience versus actions, no? So morality governs or rules our consciousness, our conscience, di ba? Sabi nga natin, kapag nakokonsensya ka, ibig sabihin meron kang ginawang mali. So what dictates good behavior or bad behavior is definitely our perception on morality, kung ano yung alam natin or ano yung iniisip natin or ano yung approach natin when it comes to morality. So, ang batas na nag-govern sa ating conscience is definitely our perception on morality. And our actions is also being governed by the different laws that we had created. So, actions are being governed by law, no? Conscience is being governed by morality. So, that's how we distinguish them. But then we should always remember, sabi nga dito, that what is legal is not necessarily moral, and what is moral is worth legalizing. Okay? So that ends muna our first part. I will be uploading 2 parts of this lecture kasi we still have class to have, no? So tutuloy natin mamaya yung second part, which covers the topic on human acts, kinds of human acts, and moral distinction and modifiers of human action. Okay, so see you guys mamaya. Okay, so welcome back to our lecture for the part 2 of the subject matter professional conduct and ethical standard module 1, no? So, doon sa una nating lecture ay tinalakay natin yung mga concept of ethics, different distinction between ethics and law, importance of ethics, no? And now we're going to talk about human acts, no? And the other remaining topics that we have. So we have here human act, no? Ang human act is considered as an act that is performed only by human being, and thus it's proper to man and it's voluntary in character. Okay? So as I was researching for this subject matter, no, I realized that there is a distinction between the definition of human act from act of human or act of man. Sabi dito sa human act, these are act that is performed only by human beings. So hindi siya dapat or hindi siya kayang i-perform ng iba pang iba pang organisms such as animals and so on. Yung act of man naman are those actions that are basically involuntary in nature, no? And can be performed by other organisms such as animals, no? Kasi ang titignan nga natin, no, digestion, yan yung mga involuntary act that we have, di ba? Digestion, circulation, perspiration, mga ganyan ba, yung mga involuntary movement that we have that can be performed also by other organisms such as animals. Pwede rin naman silang nagaganyan, na. But then pag sinabi natin human act, ito yung tayo lang na tao ang nakakagawa, such as yung mga ability to think, no, ability to rationalize, basically our ability to perceive moral actions. Those are and actions, no, that are considered as proper to man, no, na tayo lang ang makakagawa, and they should be voluntary, no, voluntary in character. Ibig sabihin is hindi ka pinilit, hindi ka napilitan, no? Kundi ikaw mismo ang may decision in your full volition and capacity to perform such action. Ikaw ang nag-decide kung gagawin mo yung isang action na yan. So, yan yung tinatawag nating human act. By the way, we have a lot of kinds of human act. No? Meron tayong tinatawag na elicited acts. No? This refers to the acts that are performed by the will and are not bodily externalized. So pag sinabi nating elicited acts, these are actions that we have. Should we call it action? Kasi hindi pa naman siya nagagawa. Parang ganun. No, ito yung mga pina-perform natin that are not yet physically done or physically externalized or bodily externalized. Ibig sabihin, nasa isip lang natin siya. No? Kung iniisip lang natin siya at hindi pa natin ginagawa, elicited acts ang tawag natin dyan. So we have a lot of examples for that, such as yung wish, no? Diba yung nagwi-wish ka na kung saan is gusto ko ng ganito, gusto kong maging ganon, gusto kong magkaroon nito, gusto kong magkaganyan. So you are thinking of something, you have a will towards something, but then you don't have you are not sure if that will happen or not, that will be realized or not. No? Kasi wala ka pa namang ginagawang action. No? Kumbaga is iniisip mo pa lang siya, ginugusto mo pa lang siya. So that is wish. But still, that is considered as human act. No? Tayo lang ang nakakagawa ng ganyan. Tayo lang yung nangangarap. No? Tayong tao lang ang nangangarap. Other organisms don't have that ability. So wish ang tawag natin doon. And intention naman, no? Intention refers to the tendency. It refers to the tendency of the will towards something attainable but without necessarily committing oneself to attain it. No? So kumbaga nag-iisip ka na ng kung saan is kung paano mo makukuha yung gusto mo, kasi these are all in relation to each other. No? Halimbawa, you have the wish. Then, how are you going to do it? How are you going to attain it? Mag-iisip ka ngayon ng plano, di ba? Sabi mo, gusto kong yumaman at the age of 30, gusto kong milyonaryo na ako. So that is your wish, your hope. No? Di ba? Yun yung pangarap mo. But how? How are you going to do that? So mag-iisip ka rin kung paano mo siya makakamit. No? Whether you are going to study hard, no? Whether you are going to put up some business, no? Whether you are going to gamble, no, by the way, pag sinabi nating mga human acts, these are all part of the concept of ethics. Pag-aaralan natin 'yan kasi at early as we are thinking of doing something, no, we are already considering the moral aspect of such behavior, di ba? Is it moral ba yung mangarap ka na gusto mong yumaman at the age of 30? I don't think so, no? But then, pwedeng magkaroon tayo ng mga masamang pangarap, di ba? So, meron yung mga ganyan. Sa perception pa lang, sa pag-iisip pa lang, sa elicited acts pa lang, is pwede na nating husgahan whether moral or immoral yung isang action, ano? So habang iniisip niya pa lang, habang pinapangarap niya pa lang, pwede na pumasok dito yung concept ng morality, kung tama nga ba yung ginugusto mo or tama nga ba yung pinapangarap mo. Okay? At the same time, ganun din sa intention. How are you going to achieve your wishes, no? So pwedeng legal yan, pwedeng illegal. Pwedeng maganda, pwedeng masama, no? So pwede niyan sabihin, magtratrabaho ako ng maayos, mag-iipon ako, magne-negosyo ako, at the same time, pwede niya ring isipin ang paggawa ng kasamaan para mas madali niyang makuha or maabot yung kanyang wish. Okay? Then we have consent, no? So consent is the acceptance of the will of those needed to carry out the intention. So alam naman natin, for example, that if you wanted to attain something, you need to work hard towards it. Kailangan mong paghirapan. Kailangan mong maghirap bago mo makuha yung isang bagay. So, at the part of the consent is that you are approving, no? Alin kaya dito yung katanggap-tanggap or pwede kong gawin para nang sa ganun ay maabot ko yung aking gustong maabot. So, that's consent. Then, election refers to the selection, ano? Selection. Pili ka doon kasi when we are talking about ways to get rich, no? Nag-iisip kang paano ka yumaman, maraming paraan. But then you need to select a specific one nang sa ganun doon ka mag-focus to to increase your potential of achieving your wishes. No? So, meron selection process dyan. Ito, hindi ko pwedeng gawin to. Ito, mahirap gawin to. Ito, pwede kong gawin. So, that involves the election process wherein mamimili ka among those things kung ano yung i-carry out mo doon sa different intentions that you have. Then use refers to the command of the will to make use of those means na pinili mo under election and then carry it out as part of the intention. No? So mamili ka ng anong approach ang gagamitin mo para makuha mo yung wish mo. Then you're going to act according to that. No? So, ito pa lang is yung umiikot pa lang sa isip mo pag ginusto mo yung isang bagay. Ano? Then, fruition, no? From the word fruit, no? Result. No? It refers now to the enjoyment of the will derived from the attainment of the things he had desired earlier. So, kapag natupad mo, nagawa mo yung gusto mong gawin, natupad mo yung wish mo, then how will you feel about it? So, the fruition is now referring to the enjoyment, the satisfaction that you will receive upon completion, ano? Kapag natupad mo na yung pangarap mo or yung gusto mo. So that is how elicited acts usually cycles, no? You started with a wish, you think of a way paano mo makukuha yon, then you permit or consent those different ways para makuha mo yon. You select, no? Asan kaya ang pinaka-best na way para maabot mo yung wish mo, then you use it, no? Gamitin mo, gawin mo, then you will receive satisfaction from it if ever na you will succeed, and that is fruition. Okay, then we also have the another type of or kinds of human act, which is yung tinatawag nating commanded acts. Commanded acts refers to those actions that are done by mental or bodily powers under the command of the will. No? So, ibig sabihin, ito yung mga actions na ginagawa mo dahil ginusto mo or inutusan mo yung sarili mo, no? Porsigido kang gawin yung isang bagay. So, that's commanded acts. So, it can either be internal or external or a combination of them. Now, pag sinabi nating internal action, this refers to the conscious reasoning, recalling something. Di ba yung parang inuutusan mo yung sarili mo na mag-isip ng paraan, no? Mag-isip ng dahilan, alalahanin ang isang memory, no? Alalahanin ang nakaraan, mga ganun ba? So those are internal action that does not need physical action, but then you are commanding yourself to do it, no? So pinipilit mo yung sarili mo na kontrolin yung emotion mo. Halimbawa, naiiyak ka pero gusto mong pigilan, so you're commanding your emotion, no? But then it doesn't have any physical actions yet, no? It's all in the mind, kumbaga internally pa lang yan, internal actions, but it involves demands, no? It involves command from you, from your consciousness to your consciousness also. Okay, so that is internal actions. External actions naman is meron na tayong mga physical action na na-observe, such as for example, gusto mong makarating sa ganito, no? Kaya you commanded yourself na okay, you run or you walk, no? Maglakad ka para maabot mo 'yon, or tumakbo ka para maabot mo 'yon. Gusto kong matikman itong ganitong pagkain, so you command yourself to eat, no? To eat a certain food, to eat a certain thing, and so on. Gusto mong sumayaw, so you commanded yourself that okay, do the move, no? Galaw, laughing, listening, no? And reading. So those are all internal action, which is one way, kumbaga, your brain think of something, you wanted to do it, so you commanded your body to do it. So that's not that complicated actually, no? It involves a certain part of our body. So like, so for example, brain to your feet, no? So that's walking. Brain to your mouth, on to your hand. So it's not complicated. Now, doon sa combination of external and external movement, so this involves simultaneous thinking, planning, deciding, and action, no? So let's say, for example, studying, di ba? You're thinking of something, you're imagining of something, you're rationalizing something, then it involves also actions. Driving car, for example, ano? That involves decision making, ano? Nag-isip ka, magplano ka, gawin mo, and then it involves also physical action, take action in whatever that is. Let's say, for example, okay, may daan dyan, traffic, merong isang daan paliko, you are now thinking if you're going to pass, didiretsuhin mo yung traffic, maghihintay ka, or liliko ka. So that involves thinking, rationalization, and coming and reasoning. Then later on, kapag nakapag-decide ka na on what should be the best thing to do, na mayroon ka ng actions na gagawin, which is the halimbawa, lumiko ka na, pulling of the steering wheel, na controlling the steering wheel, which are physical actions. So it's much more complicated kasi it involves the functioning of the two internal actions and then external action later on. So it's a combination of the two. Okay? Yan pa mga writing a letter, playing chess, and other more complicated activities of the human actions. No? But all involves commanded acts. Unlike doon sa tinatawag nating elicited acts kanina, which is more on thinking of something and deciding of something, ito naman is involved already yung tinatawag nating doing something. No? Then we have also here yung moral distinction na tinatawag. How can we distinguish whether a certain behavior is good or bad? So in this distinction, we are basically using the standard set by the society. Ang classification of actions according to the norms of morality is definitely based on to the standard set by the society. Halimbawa, paano natin masabi na isang behavior is moral or good? No? Ang behavior or action is moral or good if those actions are in conformity with the norm of morality and the society. Na katanggap-tanggap ba yung behavior na yan? If not, then it's immoral. If yes, then it is moral. Immoral, meaning bad things or bad actions, this refers to the actions that are not in conformity with the norm of the morality. Now, kung hindi siya katanggap-tanggap sa society as a moral action, then it's probably immoral. So let's say, for example, yung pagpatay ng tao, ano? Yung pagpatay ng tao, does it conform to the morality, no? To the norm of morality? Of course not, kasi taking life is considered as a taboo, taking life is considered as wrong and bad and a crime and whatsoever. So it's not considered as a good or moral action. It is considered as immoral action. What is moral is the respect for the right to life. Diba? You respect the right to life of each and every individual. That's a moral act or good action. Okay? What about amoral? Amoral means indifferent. These are actions which stands neutral in relation to the norm of the morality. So they can neither be good or bad. It means that our view on morality cannot really decide whether it's good or bad. No? Ano kaya ang pwede nating i-example dito? Okay, so let's say for example, the killing of animals for food or for whatever reason. Yung pag-butcher ng animals, ng livestock natin for food, for clothing, and other things. Now, how does the society view such behavior? Do they consider it as good, moral, or do they consider it as bad or immoral? So I think the society views it amoral behavior. They are indifferent or neutral with regards to these issues because we are divided into this issue. Some other views it as syempre, it's just a part of the society wherein we need food and they are a good source of food, meat, or whatever the things that are being taken away from the animal. No? But there are those who views that as an unacceptable behavior, especially mga vegans, no? Yung mga naniniwala na hindi dapat pumapatay ng kahit anumang uri ng nabubuhay para lang sa pagkain or whatsoever. So there is this division of the views or perception as to the morality or immorality of such behavior. And because of that division, then we considered it as amoral kasi the society has no direct say. Hindi naman sinabi ng society, majority of the society, that such behavior should be or will be considered as bad, or such behavior will be considered as good. Ibig sabihin, walang talagang exact definition on how are we going to view that specific behavior. Therefore, it is considered as amoral. It's neither good or bad. It depends upon who is looking and who is speaking. Okay? So those are the three different moral distinction. We have either that's good behavior, good action, which is considered as moral, or immoral, which is bad, or amoral, which is neither. Okay, last topic that we have here, the modifiers of human acts. We are referring to the different factors that may change, that may alter on how human acts is expected. So number one, ignorance. Ignorance refers to the absence of knowledge which a person ought to possess. Ignorance refers to ignorance that does not mean lack of knowledge. It does not mean lack of knowledge. Rather, it means the absence of knowledge na dapat meron ka. It's expected that you should know, but you don't know. It happens that you don't know. So that's ignorance. Kasi iba yung talagang totally you don't have knowledge over a certain thing. So, ano-ano nga ba yung mga yan? So, with regards to that, pwede nating maging example dito yung knowledge on the different laws that we have, especially in our country. Dapat lahat tayo na Pilipino, alam natin kung ano-ano yung mga batas na meron tayo sa bansa natin. We are expected to know that. Therefore, if you don't know that and you violated something, then you are considered as ignorant on the laws that we have. Kung you should not know that, such as for example, the law in United States, may nakomit kang crime in United States, how should you know that? You're not living there. It just happens siguro na bumisita ka, pumasyal ka sa bansang yan, then you violated a certain law. That is not considered as ignorance kasi you don't have the obligation to know the laws of different countries. It just happened that you went there and just happened that you violated some of their law. I think there's a distinction between that. Okay? Now, I would give an example for this ignorance in relation to concept of morality or legality. Kasi there is always a conflict with regards to this. For example, Mr. Pedro is galing siya sa liblib na lugar ng Pilipinas na kung saan is they have minimal law, yung mga batas-batas lang nila is with regards to killing, with regards to marriage, parang tribal ba, and sa kanila, pag halimbawa is since they don't have the specific subdivision of yung mga lupa-lupa na yan, kung basta kung tataniman mo, doon ka na, wala silang mga titulo ng mga lupa and so whatsoever. So sanay sila sa buhay nila doon na kung saan is halimbawa may nakita kang prutas, bunga ng prutas, gusto mong kainin, pwede kang pumitas, pwede kang kumuha ng kakainin mo, and then yun lang, walang bawal-bawal with regards to that. It just happened na si Mr. Pedro namasyal dito sa baba, sa city. Okay, so namasyal siya sa city na kung saan inabutan siya ng gutom sa daan, nakakita siya ng puno na may bunga na pwede niyang kainin, namitas siya, kinain niya. He didn't know that sa lugar pala na yan, they have regulations with regards to that na dapat that is considered as crime, that is considered as theft, and Mr. Pedro was arrested and imprisoned for his action. Now, using the ignorance of the law excuses no one principle of our law, masasabi natin that indeed Mr. Pedro should be or is criminally liable. But if we're going to look at the moral aspect of such behavior, can we consider his action as immoral? Can we consider his action as immoral? Because he is he committed a crime, 'di ba? Yan yung tinitingnan natin. At the same time, meron kasi akong mga nakikita na kung saan yung mga pedicab driver inaaresto ng mga traffic enforcer kasi bawal daw mamasada doon sa gitna ng highway, wherein kung titignan naman natin is gusto lang kumita, gusto lang maghanap buhay ng mga tricycle driver, yung mga pedicab driver na yan, yung mga nagbebenta na mga street vendor, nagbebenta ng mga balut, taho, mga ganun, na kung saan hinuhuli ng traffic enforcer dahil daw bawal magbenta sa lugar na yan. But if we're going to look into it, di ba, they just wanted to earn money for their living, no? Regardless if they know that it is punishable to do that or not. That makes them ignorant, no? However, no, does that make their action immoral since they have violated a law, no? So, diyan tayo magkakaroon ng conflict. Pwede natin sabihin, okay, that is considered as illegal because the ordinances or the law says it's illegal, but definitely that cannot be considered as immoral behavior, no? So that's with regards to ignorance. We might look into certain violations as illegal, but then we should not consider, or we should remember that if their action is not considered as immoral, I think they deserve some proper treatment towards. What if just, bigyan na lang sila ng citation or bigyan na lang sila ng warning or reminder not to do such thing because it's illegal, instead of criminalizing the action or punishing or prescribing penalties or fines for such action. Okay? So yun yung point natin with regards to that. We also have passion, and passion is the thing that you wanted to do or to have. It's what you desire to do. No? So passion also involves negative or positive passion, di ba? Yung mga gusto mong maging. Whether you wanted to become a police officer or you don't want to become a police officer, instead you wanted to become someone else, no? Di ba? Passions definitely affects your actions as a human being, di ba? Kasi kung ano yung gusto mo, yun yung mas nai-incline kang gawin. At kung ano yung mga requirements for that to happen, yun yung mga mas nai-incline kang gawin. Like for example, you wanted to serve as a politician, di ba? So that's your passion. Now your action will be affected by your desire to become one, di ba? Mas nagiging mabait ka, napagbigay ka kasi nga you have the passion to serve, or you wanted to become a politician someday, community leader, and so on. So pwedeng apektuhan yan yung tinatawag nating human acts mo. But if your passion is something else, no, ayaw mo nang maging ganun, gusto mo nang maging public enemy, no? So your actions will be affected by it also. Okay? We also have fear. No? Fear refers to the disturbance of mind of a person who is confronted by impending danger, no, or harm to himself or loved ones. So you see that fear can either make you a law-abiding or a law-breaking citizen. Di ba? Meron yung mga fear na kung saan is their actions, they tend to do harm if they are confronted with fear. Kung may kinakatakutan sila, they wanted to protect their loved ones or they wanted to protect themselves, they do something that is not considered as normal to them. Di ba hindi nila usually ginagawa yan, na halimbawa yung isang tao nakipag-away because of fear. Dati naman siyang mabait na tao pero nakipag-away siya bigla dahil prinotektahan niya lang yung kanyang loved ones or prinotektahan niya lang yung kanyang sarili from an impending danger. So biglang nagbago yung kanyang actions, no? Nagbago yung kanyang mga yung kanyang ginagawa, no? So they modify it, either they can modify it for good or they can modify it for negative or on a negative way. And we also have violence, the same as violence, no? Minsan is napipilitan kang gawin yung isang bagay out of violence, no? Minsan yung mga iba umaamin sa mga kasalanan nilang hindi ginawa dahil sila ay tinorture or they are being subjected to different violent actions. So it really shows that it can modify the act also of a certain person, yung violence natin tinatawag, which compels them to do a certain act against their will. And lastly, we have habits. No? Habits naman refers to the lasting readiness and facility born of frequently repeated actions. Now, have you experienced na kung saan is lasing na lasing ka, but then nakauwi ka pa rin ng safe sa bahay nyo, I think that's a good example that you can relate with. Na, bakit kaya ganun? Hindi, kumbaga, tulog na yung diwa mo pero nakauwi ka pa rin ng safe. So that can happen kung meron na tayong tinatawag na habit forming, which is, na, parang ano lang yan self-driving car, na kung saan there are cars na they can be programmed na even if no human intervention, they can be able to drive at specific point to a specific point, no? That can happen to human being, no? Especially to the brain na pwede ma-program through yung habit formation na yan, di ba? Na kahit hindi ka na conscious, hindi na nag-i-intervene yung utak mo, yung pag-iisip mo, calculations mo on a certain action, napapansin mo na nagagawa mo yung isang bagay kahit hindi mo iniisip gawin, or kahit hindi ka nag-i-intervene, kahit hindi nag-i-intervene yung utak mo. So yan yung mga habit forming. May mga actions kasi tayo that are being modified based on our habits. Na kasi pag habits na yung kumbaga nag-take charge, ibig sabihin is you don't need to intervene. No? Kumbaga automatic na yung nagagawin at gagawin ng katawan mo without you intervening it. So that's habit being modified, or that is human act being modified by habit. Okay, so that's the entirety of the lecture on professional conduct and ethical standard for module 1. I do hope you learned something from this lecture. No? If you have comments, suggestions, and so on, don't hesitate to comment down on the comment sections, and then kung meron tayong mga pwedeng sagot, then sagutin natin yan. Okay, thank you for listening. Have a good day everyone. Bye-bye.